Mercedes-Benz GLC43 AMG. This is the second SUV in the AMG lineup after the GLA45 AMG, and this does not have the 2-liter turbo like the GLA45. This has the 3-liter twin-turbo V6 producing around 367 horsepower. Similar engine that is found in the C43 Coupe. As you can see, this car has an SUV stance. It's not really an SUV, it's a coupe SUV, which is an upcoming trend, which is something started from the BMW with its X6. This is kind of a rival to the X6. Actually, it's rival to the younger sibling of the X6, which is the X4. It's a coupe-like SUV, and so it has its SUV attributes, yet it has striking design elements which make it stand out on the road. The front end of the car has a much more aggressive look than the regular GLC. You can tell this by the way the front bumper is designed. Also, this car comes with LED lights and the diamond grille, which is not available on the standard GLC. The coupe lines are much more prominent on the side profile of the car. You can see that the rear end slopes down and gives it a very sporty look. The ground clearance is very ample to tackle with Indian roads, which further enhances its appeal in the Indian market. The car comes with 19-inch alloys, 235 section tires up front, 255 tires in the back, which is a staggered setup. When you come to the rear of the car, you can see that this has the typical Mercedes coupe look. These are the same taillights you can find on all the coupe models they have, like the GLE coupe, the C coupe, the E coupe, even to an extent the S coupe. So this is something that Mercedes has been using on all the coupe models, and this car also has it. I think it looks fabulous, especially with the chrome line on the tail light, enhances its appeal overall, and it's just a great looker all around. Inside the car, it's a very typical Mercedes affair. You have part Alcantara, part leather seats. The whole interior is leather. You've got this very cool looking glossy black finished center console, which is a little prone to scratches, I must say, so you must really take care of it. But there is a center compartment that opens. You can store your stuff. Rest, it's a very clean look because obviously many cars have the gear lever here, which is not here in this car. The gear lever in this car is near the steering wheel, which is a little inconvenient initially, but it's something you can get used to it, and it just doesn't cause a hindrance while driving. Rest, the steering wheel is a 3-spoke flat bottom steering wheel. I'm surprised though this car does not have the AMG emblem on the steering wheel, because I've seen something like the CLA45 that has the AMG emblem. I think that would enhance its whole appeal when you're inside the car, and I'm surprised that this car does not have. Maybe it's an optional extra, but this car does not have it, and I'm quite surprised. The speedometer is the usual AMG affair, full analog dials with a MID screen in the middle which tells you about your trip, details, fuel economy, range, etc. Nothing very fancy there. This is one of the older infotainment units that Mercedes has been using. The newer ones are much bigger and touchscreen, say something like in the latest C-Class. This is something from the older generation, so it is a little cumbersome to use, and you must use this roller, or you can use this big joystick-like unit to control it. But it's not touchscreen, which is a big disappointment. I think when you're paying this much money, it should be touchscreen. Possibly it's coming in the next model, but this does not have it. It's a big shame. To get access to the boot of this car, you must press the Mercedes logo, which is something very Volkswagen-like. You open the boot, you can see that firstly there's not very much boot space, but it is majorly occupied by the spare wheel. There is no provision to put the spare wheel under like other cars in the well. There is no well made, so you have to put the donut tire. Yes, it is a donut tire, but you have to put the donut tire on the boot, which hampers a lot of boot space, so you better think about packing right when you go on long trips. Coming to the rear seat, the first thing you will notice is that the ingress is little tight and space does not get better afterwards. The backrest is a little upright and legroom is a little tight. Although I'm not very tall, the driving seat is for my driving position, and the roof is almost hitting my head, and I'm 5'8", so there are definitely much more taller people than me in this world. Definitely their head is going to hit the roof, and that's something not cool.
Now I'm behind the wheel of this GLC43 AMG, so let's see how it is. When you start off, you have to use the awkward position gear lever, which is common in all Mercedes. Put into drive and the car just sets off nicely. So this car has 4 modes: economy, comfort, sport and sport plus. Currently I'm in economy mode and it's extremely calm. You cannot even hint this car has 365 horsepower. Just calmly gliding along. You use this mode basically if you have no fuel, you're running out of fuel, you need to get to a pump. Put into eco mode, it would work just fine. it to the comfort mode, which is through a knob on the center console, you can feel that the car does get a little bit more eager. The air suspension adjusts itself. It gets a little more supple. Yes, the ride is still stiff. In comfort mode, it is stiff, no doubt, because not to forget, this is an AMG after all. But in comfort mode, it makes it much more livable, and thankfully this car has the comfort mode, so you can actually use it daily, because with such a ground clearance, I think it would not be an issue to use this on Indian roads daily. No speed breaker or pothole would be too much to handle. So I feel that I think it works well with the city driving in comfort mode. And then if you put it into sport mode, the car becomes a little loud, and the car feels a little more excited when you give it throttle inputs. It feels like it's using a little bit more of the 365 horsepower. But then comes the cherry on the cake. You put into Sport Plus, and the car instantly downshifts 2 gears. As you can see, there's a slight jerk. The car downshifts 2 gears, pull on the upshift paddle, and it upshifts really quickly. This car has the 9-speed gearbox, which is much better than the old 7-speed. The old 7-speed is very jerky. This gearbox is also jerky, not to be mistaken that it's too smooth. No, it is very jerky, but it is much more livable. And then if you just pull the paddle down, downshift a few times, and in your power band, you're just on. And it sounds so nice. Obviously, it's not in the league of the bigger 63 series cars that have the twin turbo V8. This is still a twin turbo V6, and it will have some limitations. So definitely it has some limitations when it comes to sound. But I'll tell you that it's not ear piercing, and I think on a daily basis, this sound you would actually prefer it to the V8s. The V8s are really deafeningly loud. This is very soothing. It's very smooth. It's very silky smooth, so it doesn't actually hurt your ears. It's actually really nice. When you put into Sport Plus, the engine also does become a little loud. So does the steering feel becomes much stronger. So it becomes stiffer. So when you put it into Sport Plus, the steering weight goes up and there's more feel. At slow speed, you might feel that it's become a tad too heavy, perhaps. But when the speeds build up and when you're pushing it through the corners, as I did on the Gurgaon Faridabad road, that's like Delhi NCR folks hill runs, and I was actually having some good fun in Sport Plus. Put the foot down. Wow, it's so fast. This car is so fast. As I was saying, the steering feel becomes really good. A little too weighted at slow speed, but for that you can switch into comfort mode, and it just becomes a really nice, sane car to drive every day. You'll be surprised how easy this car is to daily if you put it into comfort mode. Sport Plus is something you cannot not use every day, because the throttle response becomes so jerky. As soon as you touch the throttle, it just jumps ahead, and you can't use this every day. Seriously, it's just too jerky. So for daily, you can use comfort mode. When you are in sport mode, it just goes crazy, because it also gets enhanced because the exhaust gets louder. There's more crackles, pops, especially when you are lifting off. There are some crackles. This only happens mostly in sport mode, especially when you take things into your own matter. When you aggressively downshift and use engine braking, that's when you hear the most crackles and pops. It just makes you smile like a little child all the time when you're driving this car.
The GLC43 then, it's a great package. It's got its shares of flaws like the rear seat, the poor fuel economy, and the boot space. But at the price point that it's offered, at around 70 lakh rupees, I think it's great value for money. I mean, it's got the looks, it's got the ground clearance, it's got the power, it's got the exhaust note, it's got the brand value. Overall, I think it's a great package, and it's something that you cannot overlook if you're in that market to buy a car. In fact, if I could, I would buy this car without even thinking twice. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.